we'll see how Renegade can maintain. Poe gives him a little bump. Undead right behind him with Overshine, who's going to loop out and move all the way back to the 10th spot. B-Green back here as well with Pressure Applier, so some of your front runners early on in the night, all the way at the back of the pack. Riding around on his head for a second there, making me a little nervous. Alright, we're going to have to send out a little warning here. Oh, Big Dog got it back for sure. That was, and we lost him. No need for any of that out of either one of you. What's up, guys? So this video is going to be about my series, the Carnage Racing League. So this league is based off of the Supercross the Game series. We've ran a couple seasons and it's been a lot of fun, pretty successful. And we also have a pretty unique format. Now the reason I'm actually getting this particular video together is because we're planning on bringing the Carnage Racing League back in the new Supercross 25 game. We have some really cool stuff in mind and big plans. So I want to start building awareness now and also building some hype. So for now, what I did is I went and grabbed the clips from the finals of the last season that we did, which will be this video here. It is a Triple Crown style format. So it's going to be 3 main events. And then at the end, we also have our Carnage Clash. Now, unfortunately, I did lose the very beginning of a couple of the main events, but you'll still get the general idea. And I also had a pretty cool custom track made for this round, but unfortunately, we could not get it to work due to some milestone issues. So I ended up using an already made custom track. So I'll have timestamps in the video for the start of each main, as well as the Carnage Clash, and what exactly the Carnage Clash is in case you don't already know. Pretty much the top 5 overall finishers go to the Clash, and from there we do 4 elimination races that are only 1 lap. Anything goes, so pretty much you could try to take each other out. There's no real rules. And depending on how far you can make it into the Carnage Clash before you're eliminated will depend on how many championship bonus points you will earn. So generally that's a pretty fun format to watch. You know, the guys come around, cross the finish line, and then the next time they cross the finish line after that, the round will be over and they reset with the last place guy being eliminated. And we keep doing that all the way until it's just a head-to-head battle. And that ultimately is why we are the Carnage Racing League, because the night always ends with some carnage racing. Anyways, like I said, the plan is to bring the series back for Supercross 25, which I'm pretty excited to do. Still working out on a few of the details, but we plan to have some outside sponsorship coming in and things like that to really help with the prizes. So if you haven't already, make sure you jump in the Discord. The link will be in the description below to stay up to date on all the updates for the upcoming series. Originally, this was a PlayStation series, but it sounds like we might have the capability to include all consoles as well as PC. And if that's the case, we definitely want to try to grow this series to include everybody. Anyways, I do have some dialogue going in the original video, and I did my best to commentate at the time. I did have, my son was still a newborn at this time, so it was a little bit tricky trying to navigate that. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut out of this and switch over to the original audio. He's got Mason LU tucked in right behind him, looking for a podium finish. Then in third now we have Pressure Applier, who's moved all the way through the pack. You know, he is looking to set his sights on Renegade, who looks like he just went down. And now Pressure Applier also goes down. That's going to allow B-Green by, who's also made his way through the field. So just like that, we got a grid battle. Now B-Green already into the lead. Renegade made another mistake, so Mason LU is still holding down your 2 slot. Not sure how B-Green got around both of them like that, but he did, and that's going to allow Pressure Applier to close right up on his rear wheel. He's going for the triple in, not able to get it though. Good little triple out though. So now we got a tight grouping here towards the front. And look who's come to join us, Radio, after getting tossed around like a ragdoll on the first lap. He's all the way up to 5th, and he is running strong. Got a good gap from 5th all the way back to 6th, which is Overshine, who's trying to recover from just getting absolutely lawn darted across the screen there on the first lap as well. He's kind of in no man's land. And then we got Big Dog here in 7th, holding strong with Joe Meister on a charge up to the front, trying to salvage some points here. Captain Cole holding strong in 9th. Undead, after a good start, all the way back to 10th, battling with 9 Soft and Apex here. Apex hits the tough block and just goes over the bars. He's looks to be getting frustrated and riding a little over his head, so hopefully he can calm down and ride to his full potential here. But Nightsoft made a mistake, and he is going to allow Apex to go by. So checking back in here with B Green, he's starting to, well, no, he's not really. Mason LU is all over his back wheel pretty much. See, there's a lot of time to be made here on these 3 straightaways, I think. You gotta really watch that first double in to make sure you're not overshooting it. Pressure applier all over the back wheel of Renegade here. So we'll see how Renegade can maintain. Oh, gives him a little bump. Nothing too drastic. Nothing worth sending a warning over. Radio really not losing touch with any of these guys either. Pressure applier is able to walk around Renegade there down that rhythm section, so that's going to put him back to 4th. Radio rides right over the top of that tough block. Bold choice if you ask me, but he made it work. Everyone getting a run through the whoops here. Starting to spread out pretty evenly here. Single file, but all right within the touch of each other. Oh, and just like that, Radio with a huge mistake. Let's see what Overshine does here. Can he close up on Radio? That should give him... Oh yeah, look at that. It's such a time loss there. And Radio's still trying to recover from that mistake. He can't even jump the finish line. So that's going to allow Overshine to close right up on him. Now he's hunting down a top 5 finish. That's important because... Oh, careful, careful, careful. Oh, Radio tucks the front, trying to stay off of Overshine, I'm assuming. That's going to allow Overshine into the top 5, which, as I was starting to say earlier, is fairly important because he is trying to hunt down Renegade in the point standings. He does have a shot at it here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But Renegade trying to make it hard on him. He got back around Pressure Applier, who just walked right past him again. So these guys are kind of going back and forth here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So far, everything looks pretty clean. Pressure Applier starting to open up a little gap here. Everyone's still right inside of each other here, so nothing to, call it a race yet. Still got about 5 minutes left, so we'll have to see how this all shakes out. Looking at the point standings here, Overshine's only about 5 points ahead of Joe Meister, and he's about 16 points behind Renegade. So, you know he's going to be looking to at least try to finish directly behind Renegade, so he can stay in this fight here. Also, he's going to be wanting to be ahead of Joe Meister so as to not lose the position to Joe Meister. But B Green, he missed a round, and he is all the way up to 4th in the points, and he's only 18 points behind Joe Meister. So if he can keep riding like he is right now, especially depending on how the clash goes later on tonight, he might be able to get in that top 3 overall on the championship even after missing a round. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But with all that being said, it looks like Mason LU has not lost touch of B Green this whole time. Now, we've seen some pretty good rides out of Mason this season, but nothing quite like this where he is just glued to the front of the pack like this. He's been in second the whole race regardless of who is leading, which is kind of different. You don't really see that too often. I don't know if he's just pacing these guys, waiting to make a move, or if it's just how it worked out. But either way, he is running a great race. See if he can get this triple. That is a tough triple. Don't let it fool you. So he didn't quite get through there as clean as he would have liked. That's going to allow B Green to open up just ever so slightly, but Mason still keeping tucked in close behind B Green, and he has opened up a gap on Pressure Applier and Renegade, who have their own little one-on-one battle going on now. So you kind of have these two little battles going on at the front here. You got B Green versus Mason, and then Pressure versus Renegade. Then right here in 5th, you have Overshine just running his race pretty much all by himself. Radio trying to stick with him, but he just went down while going under the bridge again. So that's going to make things even harder on him. He's starting to allow Joe Meister to close up on him. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if he can get around Radio. That would be a pretty good salvage out of Joe Meister after he had an absolutely miserable first couple laps. Shout out to him for just sticking with it and trying to recover. Big Dog sticking right here in 8th, running a good pace, looking good. So shout out to him. Captain Cole still right here in 9th. Running that same pace as these guys, not too far back. Undead sticking right with Captain Cole. And then a little further back, not too far though, we got 9 Soft and then Apex, who I think is just not quite gelling with this track the way that he did with the original track. He ran a pretty fast qualifying time on the original track, so sorry to see that he is struggling with this track, but love to have him with us here tonight, and you know, it's a triple crown, so we'll see what he could do in the next couple mains. But running it back to the front here, B Green's finally starting to stabilize a gap. Looks like Mason is now being caught by Pressure Applier, who is doing his best to apply that pressure. But to be honest with you, Mason is really not folding much. I don't think his pace has really dropped off. I think maybe B Green has just opened it up a little bit. Didn't see any resets out of Mason. Could have missed it, but don't think he got reset. But if you look at the gap between Pressure Applier and Renegade, looks like that opened up a little bit, so I think Pressure may have just rolled up on his rear wheel here. But whatever the case may be, he's still holding him off. He is not quite within striking distance, he's just outside, but he backsided that jump a lot better. It's going to allow him to gain a bike or so. And any bit closer and he will be within that striking distance, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. This is the closest battle on the track. Does he send it up the inside here? Woohoo. Lets him know he's there. Sacrifices a little bit of a run through the whoops, but it all worked out. He's still tucked in right behind him on his rear wheel. We'll see what happens here. Mason stays lower over the double, blocks the inside. That's going to allow him to hold it for another lap. We only have 2 laps remaining. Pressure Applier cases the finish line double, and that's going to give Mason about the same gap that he had last lap. So this might be enough for him to hold it. We'll see. There's still time left, and Pressure Applier is far from far. Oh, but just like that, he jumps off the track, gets a good reset though. So he's still within striking distance. He's just not quite close enough to make a move yet. And it looks like B Green may have made a small mistake because he seems a little bit closer than he was last lap. Just going off of the eye test here. Definitely got a gap. Only a lap and a half to go, so he is far from in danger, but we just got to keep an eye on that, make sure that he doesn't make any more mistakes, or he could throw away this win. Renegade looks to be just settling in on his own pace. He knows that Overshine and, looks like Radio now has closed back in on Overshine, so good for him. Nice little rebound there. I don't know if he felt the pressure of Joe Meister coming and decided to just try to turn it back up or what happened. Oh, and just like that, he watched the front. I'm sorry. That was probably my fault. Shouldn't have said anything. And now that's going to allow Joe Meister by. So your 3 championship contenders running right here in 4th, 5th, and 6th overall. And then your 4th place in the championship out in front, trying to bring home the moto win. So we'll see what can happen here with Radio. Can he get back around Joe Meister? He seems to have the speed to possibly do it, so we'll check back in before the race is over. But moving back up here, oh no, Pressure Applier jumping off the track. So that could seal his fate. He might be locked into a 3rd overall here. B Green is riding really solid, but he is definitely not pulling away from Mason by any stretch of the imagination. Mason LU is now pretty much on the same straightaway as B Green. So he better make sure he doesn't mess this up or it could cost him the win. But like the veteran he is, looks like he's going to hold it down. And he is going to take home your main event #1 win. Mason LU going to bring home a really solid 2nd. Pressure Applier moving up through the field to bring home your 3rd. Your points leader, Renegade, right here with a solid 4th, trying to do what he needs to do. His competitors here in Overshine and Joe Meister holding it strong right behind him, trying to keep it close. They're going to finish as well. Joe Meister runs it in deep to make sure he's safe from radio. Captain Cole with a chance here to try to finish the race. Looks like he's going to get there. Followed by Big Dog, Undead, Ninesoft, and Apex. Big Dog sneaking it in right at the end. So shout out to those guys. Good racing, everybody. Love to see it. Give these guys a second to catch their breath. Main event number 1 winner here, B Green. Does not get the jump this time. He's going to settle into about the 5th or 6th spot. Oh, Mason runs it in deep. Sticks the landing though. Pressure applier with your whole shot here. Captain Cole in 2nd. We're losing some people back here. Oh no, Renegade drops off the back of the berm. Barely gets reset. So that is unfortunate. But he is going to try to recover. It's only the first lap. Somebody already missed the double. That's radio. So he's got some work to do here, but I'm sure he can manage it. Apex right here, holding strong in 8th. Undead right behind him. Let's see if anyone... Ooh, Apex sends it in deep. Big Dog looking pretty smooth right here in the mid-pack. Just trying to make sure everyone's keeping it clean. No one's doing anything too crazy. Uh-oh. Looks like that Captain Cole runs off the track. Oh, Captain Cole, let's watch it on the bump in there. Oh, and we lost Captain Cole. And we lost Captain Cole again. Alright, so Renegade finally gets around somebody. He's caught up to the group here, though. Let's see what he can do. Everyone relatively single file. Oh no! Big crash out of Undead right there. Bike goes flipping off the side of the track. It's going to allow Renegade and Radio by. Apex right here, all the way up to 7th, having a better run than he did last moto. See if he can hold on to it. I have a feeling part of that could have been, emotions just flaring up because that was a pretty rough race there. So hopefully calm down and he can ride to his potential here. All the way up to 6th now. Pressure applier looking to absolutely open a gap here. Not looking to do the same thing that he did last moto. Trying to check out. He knows that B Green is looking to run him. Oh, Overshine runs it in. Keeps it clean though. Just a little contact. Nothing too crazy. B Green not going to have it. Quad and then double out. But he checks up. Oh no, he goes too far inside and clips the tough block. So that's going to bump your Moto 1 winner all the way back down to 6th. And he has Radio trying to chase him down right behind him. Renegade trying to follow Radio through the pack, but he's got Big Dog all over him. Not looking to let him by easy. Let's see what happens with that. B Green trying to recover here. Apex all the way up into the top 5 after running around in last for most of the main event last main. So nice recovery there. Let's see what we could see out of him here. Overshine with a solid 4th here. So he's looking to go 5-4 right now. That's typically what he does. He's right there. He doesn't gain a bunch of points, but he never gives it away either. And also Mason right here in 3rd, your 2nd place finisher from Moto 1. He would be tying up Pressure Applier right now on the overall for tonight. Obviously the tie breaker would go to Pressure Applier, but running solid. And let's not forget to talk about Joe Meister here, who is having a great recovery from that absolutely horrific start to main event number 1, where he just could not catch a break. Every single little thing that seemed to be able to go wrong was going wrong. And he rebounded nicely all the way up to 6th. So now he's up into second. Overshine getting around Mason LU. Let's see what he does here. Does he try to run it in, or does he keep it clean? Oh, keeps it clean. Nice. Now B Green has gotten around Apex, as well as Renegade and Radio. Renegade getting around Radio. So Renegade moving up a couple more spots. He's trying to catch up to B Green here, but he's got a pretty long ways to go to get that far. But these three guys right here, oh, Mason coming on the inside. Pretty good battle here, so these guys could ball each other up just a bit and allow Renegade to close back up on them. We'll have to keep an eye on that as well. Mason, after running second for pretty much the entire first main event, I'm sure is looking for at least a podium finish here, so he's not going to give that up easily. I'm sure he is doing his best to try and track down Joe Meister, as well as hold off Overshine here. So these three are starting to ball each other up just a little bit here, and I might allow B Green to capitalize on that. See what Renegade does here. Hard to say if he has closed up or not, but he's definitely within striking distance if one of these guys make a mistake. B Green has definitely closed up. Oh, and just like that, they're making those mistakes that I was talking about. So B Green gets a 2-for-1. That's going to bump Mason back to 4th, Overshine back to 5th, which was what he got last main event. You know, he's looking to try to put some people in between him and Renegade, because they are battling for the title tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but looks like Renegade is starting to close up on Overshine here. And Radio is really not losing touch of Renegade much, so he's far from out of it either. Then Big Dog's right here in 8th, another solid mid-pack ride here, holding it down. Undead rebounding nicely from that early crash. Apex starting to settle in here in 10th, and Captain Cole right here in 11th. Who did we lose from the first main event? Shoot. I'm not going to be able to figure it out off the top of my head. I think it was 9 South. Yeah, we lost 9 South. So hopefully that wasn't a connection issue, but if it was, I'm sorry. Either way, it was good to have you with us tonight. Alright, so we just ran down to 9 South's pits and we did a quick interview with him, and we found out that he did not realize it was a triple crown. He did not put enough fuel in the bike to run main event number 2, so he had to pull off for the night. But pleasure having you with us, and hope you can make it back out if we have some more races again. But with that being said, B Green has gotten around Joe Meister, and now Mason LU is trying to hunt him back down. But we got a battle here. Renegade has caught up to his teammate Overshine here. So Big Daddy Renegade is looking to assert why he is the Big Daddy on Overshine here. You know that he would like to let it be known that he is better. Overshine would like to let it be known that he thinks he is better. So I'm sure that these guys might be friends and teammates, but they're probably not going to give each other an inch of space. We'll have to keep an eye on this. This is your championship battle here. Now, Renegade does not need to pass Overshine. He is your points leader, and he can hold the points from where he is sitting. But you don't get the nickname Big Daddy Renegade by sitting right where you're at. We'll run back down here, see what Apex is doing here. He is having a better moto or main or whatever you want to call it than... Oh, whoa. What is going on? Riding around on his head for a second there, making me a little nervous. Alright. We're going to have to send out a little warning here. Oh, Big Dog got it back for sure. That was... Oh. And we lost him. No need for any of that out of either one of you. Not sure what led up to it, but we're going to keep an eye on this for a minute here. Oh, Undead, giving him a little bump. So now, just like that, Apex is back off the back of the pack. Let's check back in with our race leader, Pressure Applier, who has pretty much started to check out. He's looking to tie, well, he won't be able to tie things up with B-Green, but he's looking to stay in the fight for the overall by getting a main event win here. B-Green probably not going to try to catch him. I mean, I'm sure he's trying his best, but I think he knows that's probably out of the question at this point. Looking to probably just keep it smooth and stay ahead of Joe Meister as well as Mason. Looks like Overshine has been able to lock it down and keep Renegade behind him. Their little battle has allowed Radio to come back in and sniff their exhaust a little bit, so let's see what he could do. He might be able to run it in here and show them a wheel before this thing's over. They got a pretty good gap over Captain Cole, who is in your 8th spot, so we'll keep it tuned here for now. Radio definitely starting to close in on Renegade. He goes up the inside. Nice move there. So see how Renegade can respond to this kind of pressure. He hasn't really finished outside of the top 6 like this before, I don't think. So I doubt he'll be happy with this finish with where it's at right now. I'm sure he's going to try to push forward and gain a few more spots back before this thing is over. I'm sure he's going to try to get around Radio, but I don't think he's let go of Overshine either. I'm sure he would like to get around both of those guys as they are both within his sights. But if we drop back here, shout out to Captain Cole, just running his own race here in 8th. Kind of separating himself just a little bit from Big Dog, who got tangled up there with Apex. He's got Undead right behind him here in 10th. And then now looks like Apex has settled back in by himself here, which is kind of where he was at in main event number 1. I have a feeling that he's probably not gelling with the track, as he was pretty fast on the original track, but we had to switch over to this one tonight. So sorry if you're not feeling the track, but I appreciate you joining us. Looks like B-Green is ever so slightly closer to Pressure Applier, but it's going to be way too little too late as we are on the last lap. He's got a pretty stable gap over Joe Meister, though, who has Mason LU all over him. A little mistake there out of Mason, though, so that could solidify Joe Meister on the podium, which, if that is the case, your overall going into the 3rd main should be B-Green, then Pressure Applier, and then Mason LU in 3rd, with Renegade in 4th, and I believe Joe Meister in your 5th. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Looks like Renegade now has made a couple moves, and he got around Radio and Overshine, kind of like I was saying. Don't think he had let go of Overshine. Radio basically swapped spots. He's still in 6th, but he passed Overshine and got passed by Renegade. So he is still locked into a 6th spot here. And just like I was saying, I don't think Renegade has finished outside of the top 5 really, he gets himself right back in the top 5. But with that being said, Pressure Applier takes home your main event number 2 win. Joe Meister just squeaks into your 3rd. Mason LU going to bring home 4th. Renegade rebounding all the way up to 5th after basically coming from dead last. Radio, nice solid 6th. Overshine probably frustrated with this 7th as he was a little bit further up. Captain Cole looking to finish both main events. Looks like Pressure Applier put down a little faster pace this time, or Captain Cole had a worse race because he could not quite get to the finish line. But shout out to all these guys for getting it done. Go ahead and grab this screenshot here. Buried as B Green is. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. So your entire top 3 overall. Oh, Mason, that was really bad. That was not good. One more of those and you're out. I don't care how good of a race that you've been running. That was way too much. Alright. Sorry, that was a little shocked me a little bit. Alright, let's go up here. Let's see what Overshine is doing. He's got Joe Meister all over him. So Joe Meister had that really bad like 2 or 3 laps in the first main, and ever since then he has just been on a charge. Gotta wonder what he could have done if he could have just had a clean start to this thing. But Overshine looking to keep any last ditch hope of a championship run here alive. Looking to take home the main event win. He's got Joe Meister all over him though. He's gonna get around him. And now Renegade has Radio and Pressure Applier now all the way up to 5th, already right here. He's going to block the inside, but he does not get over the double cleanly, so that's going to allow Radio to close in right behind him. And Pressure Applier is bringing Mason LU with him as well, so just as I suspected, all these guys are starting to move forward. Oh, Mason with a pretty big mistake. He salvages it pretty nicely. Captain Cole now with a nice run. Undead right here in 8th. B Green all the way up to 9th. He's already making some moves. Might be a little too late. Oh, just especially with that. That's the hard thing when you have to come through the whole pack. You got a lot of obstacles to get around. He's going to have a hard time. He's got to beat Pressure Applier. So we'll have to keep an eye on B Green. He's got his work cut out for him. Moving back forward here, looks like the top 4 is starting to gap just a little bit. Overshine got back around Joe Meister, so he's going to be leading again back into the corner here. We'll see Renegade is hanging tough here, losing touch ever so slightly, but far from out of it. He's still holding off Pressure Applier here. They're putting a gap on Radio, so that's interesting. Radio with the mistake. It's going to allow Mason to get by. Undead all the way up to 7th. He's got B Green all over his back wheel. You know that he knows it's go time, so let's see. Yeah, he's going to get a good run here. Let's see. He's going to get around Undead. He's trying to close in on Radio. Alright, let's check back in with B Green here. So he has gotten around Radio. He's trying to close in on Mason. He's got about a straightaway lead. Pressure Applier still hasn't quite got around Renegade here. And it looks like we have a battle shaping up here. We lost Apex. We do have a battle shaping up for the lead. We got a 4-rider battle. Most of these guys are going over the table, and I do think it's faster to go on and off the table. Also slightly easier. But I am just the commentator. Uh-oh. That looked more like a racing incident, but very unfortunate for Joe Meister. At least he was able to still get the section, but that's going to set him way back. So now pressure applier all over the back wheel of these guys. Big Daddy Renegade sending it up the inside and blowing himself up. Got in a little over his head there. Good reset, but it wasn't really necessary. He could have backed it down a little bit. Understandable though. Not quite going to get this triple cleanly. Oh, and pressure applier coming on the inside of Overshine, and they both miss the triple. Does Renegade close back in? Yes, he does. So just like that, we're already back to a 3-rider battle for this lead. You know, Renegade is not looking to go down without a fight. Pressure applier guards the inside. Does a good job of that. Renegade looking to seal this championship up and get around his teammate and friend of Overshine. But just like that, like I said, jumping over the table messed him up a little bit. I do think he should switch over to jumping on and off the table, but that's just my opinion. And now Joe Meister is right here, and he is bringing Mason with him. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. B Green has not been able to really close the gap by much. There's still 5 minutes remaining though, so he is not out of this thing yet. But he pretty much at this point would have to run it all the way up into first to be able to take home your overall tonight. So it looks like the only thing we need to figure out here is who is going to be your top 5 finishers, because all of these 6 guys here have pretty much all finished in the top 6, with the exception of Overshine getting 7th last moto. And just like that, Renegade goes down, and he's going to drop all the way back to 5th, keeping a small spark of Overshine's championship hopes alive. So he really needs to get back around pressure applier if he wants to be able to have a shot at this thing. But just like that, Renegade muscles his way right back around Mason. Let's see how he takes that. They both go off the table that time. B-Green is now starting to close in. Mason with a bobble through the whoops, so that could allow... Oh, Joe Meister with a mistake. He goes down again. So now these guys are going to start to bottle up a little bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, they are battling, and oh, they both stay on the track. Oh, Mason washes the back end. Unfortunate. So that's going to allow B-Green by. Mason should still be well within the top 5 to be able to run the Clash if he finishes here in 6th. I believe he would go 2-4-6, which should be plenty solid enough for a top 5 overall. B-Green now looking to make a charge towards the front. He's got Joe Meister lined up right in front of him. Renegade now all the way up to 3rd. He sees the glowing boots of his teammate Overshine right in front of him. You know that he is looking for a way to catch him. Alright, so looks like not much has changed here. Joe Meister still running here in 4th. Little wheel tap out, that's interesting. Okay, I could have sworn B Green was around Mason, so that is a pretty significant change. Not sure what happened to B Green, but it looks like he's back at it, trying to track Mason back down. But with that being the case, pressure applier now starting to open up a gap over Overshine. Not nearly as big as it was last main event, but definitely big enough. Renegade is now starting to put a little bit of pressure here on Overshine, trying to let him know that he is here. And Joe Meister showing why he is third overall in the championship, right here in fourth. Mason has dropped back just a little bit. He's holding off B Green though, who was your main event 1 winner, so he is still having a very solid night here. Radio, kind of your unsung hero, just been your first man out of the lead pack here every main event for the most part. Just keeping in touch with these guys, but not quite running it in with them. So definitely kind of your unsung hero here. So shout out to him. Undead running a solid 8th. Captain Cole also been pretty solid tonight here in 9th. And then Big Dog rounding out your top 10. Not too far behind Captain Cole. Now moving back forward, what do we have here? Mistake out of pressure applier. That's going to allow Overshine to get back by. Does he run it back on the inside? Yes, he does. Keeps it clean. Now, does this allow Renegade to close in? Overshine bobbles over the on-offs just a little bit, but he's still right on the back wheel of pressure applier. You know that he knows that every one of these mains pays championship points, and you know he wants those 27 points that come with a first place main event finish. So he is not going to let this thing go easily, especially with only 2 laps remaining. They were able to cross the finish line before the time ran out. And with that being said, the race is going to be just ever so slightly longer. Pressure applier with the big triple out of that corner. It's going to allow him to gain about a bike on Overshine, but just like that, he cases those triples, and Overshine closes right back up on his back wheel. And he cases that, and now he's off rhythm. What's going to happen here? Overshine comes on the inside. Pressure applier checks up wisely, lets him go by, squares him up, but he cannot get back around him. And they have opened up a gap on Renegade, so it's just these two. Pressure applier trying to do the block pass there. Keeps it clean, just takes his front wheel and does not allow him to tuck back under. And now, just like that, he is opening it back up again. Let's see if he can maintain here on the final lap. Looks like we got a battle for 5th here now. B Green finally getting back around Mason LU. Mason LU sticking right on his back wheel. We'll probably check in on that here. So B Green trying to solidify himself into the top 5 on this last lap. Everyone else kind of running single file, but we got to check in with this lead battle here. Pressure applier opting not to go for the triple in this lap. See if he can get these triples cleanly. Yes, he does. So that, if he can hit this cleanly here, might seal his fate. Looks like they both get a good run down the rhythm section here. So barring any mistakes, pressure applier should be able to cruise this thing in. But shout out to Overshine, man, for just staying right on his back wheel. You know he's not going to let him go down without a fight. He wants to get a run through these whoops and try to send it in on the last corner. This race is not over yet. Let's see if anyone makes a mistake here on the on-offs. Looks like pressure applier got just a little bit better run, and Overshine's going to case the double, which is going to allow pressure applier to bring home the win. Overshine in second. Renegade with a relatively close third. Oh, B Green absolutely cleans out Joe Meister. Wish I had a better view of that. So that will be under review. B Green right now provisionally in your 4th slot. Joe Meister on your 5th. Mason LU 6th. Radio 7th. Undead going to be able to finish. Oh, swoops Captain Cole. Nice clean swoop there. Keeping it clean. Big Dog. Really not that far off in your 10th. Almost able to finish. So shout out to those guys. 112 out of Pressure Player and B Green though. And 113's out of Mason and Radio and Joe Meister and Renegade. Shoot, even Captain Cole ran a 113. So shout out to those guys. But moving on here, let's see the overalls. So your overall winner is going to be Pressure Player with 5 points, B Green with 7. And then it looks like Renegade is going to be coming in 3rd place overall, followed by Mason and Joe Meister, who tied Overshine. Oh, so Overshine with the 2nd place finish is going to be your 5th place overall finisher on the night. So shout out to the effort from that man. He's going to... Alright, Jade is down. Let's see who Mason was off the back. So, Mason washes the front. That's going to put him off the back. Let's see what he does here. Everyone's mixing it up, dicing it. Does everyone get through the whoops clean? Joe Meister trying to make it work. Mason's right here. Oh no! Renegade goes down. And Mason messes up the section. So now Renegade's going to get back by. Oh, Mason tried to send it and he lost it. Now there's still a lot of track left here, so let's see what Mason can do. Alright, so Mason LU is your first man out. Everyone's ready? Let's get it going again. Alright, so B Green trying to get your early lead and run away with this thing. Renegade and Overshine. Everyone's going over the turns. So let's see who gets up quicker. Renegade trying to insulate himself away from B Green. You know that man has the speed to turn it on here. Let's see what happens here. Joe Meister with the early lead, but he is far from safe. He is going to be looking to advance to the semifinals here. Oh, Renegade with a huge mistake at the worst time. He's still in it though. We'll see what he can do here. Oh, he overjumps the double. Can he get the triple? No, he does not get the triple. So that could seal his fate here. Unless B Green does him a favor and punts Overshine. Not likely, but it could happen. So these guys are looking to make up any last ditch bit of points here. This is your top 4 in the points, I believe. I know for a fact that Joe Meister, Overshine, and Renegade are top 3, and I want to say B Green's right there in 4th. So they are showing you why they got here, or how they got here. Looks like Joe Meister is going to bring home your Clash number 2. Oh, Renegade should have tried it a little bit earlier. So Renegade is going to be eliminated after round number 2. Everyone's ready? Here we go. Let's go on board with Joe Meister. He's here on the outside. Does he go for the whole shot? Yes, he does. Bold choice, but it's working out so far. Overshine kind of tiptoeing his way. Now, Overshine is your winner from the last 2 Clash main events. He's looking for the 3-peat here. Oh, and just like that, he dives to the inside, and he's taking the early lead. He's trying to ball these guys up, make them miss this section, because if they miss that, then... Oh, he cross-jumps B Green into the finish line, and they both go down. Unfortunate for B Green, but that was a good move out of Overshine there. Oh, and Overshine absolutely sent it over that wall jump. There's no way that he is not sweating his brains out right now. He knows that B Green is absolutely coming for him. After cross-jumping him like that, oh, he's got him teed up right here. And he stays on the track. I'm not sure how he pulled that off. Either B Green was being nice. Oh, B Green, you should have punted him, man. You should have punted him. All right, so let's reset here. Joe Meister's pretty much secured his slot into the main event. It's going to come down to, can Overshine run and hide, or will B Green just assassinate him? We're going to have to wait and see here. So far, Overshine is just far enough ahead to be safe, where he doesn't have to just block the inside of the corners, but B Green absolutely sends it down that rhythm section. Wasn't quite enough. It's going to be all about this last straightaway here. Can he get any kind of a time gain here? He's on the back wheel. He's scrubbing. Overshine's going to check up. Oh, B Green runs it in. Who's going to get... Oh, Overshine stayed on the track. Good job. So that is going to allow Overshine into another Clash main event. He's looking to go 3 in a row right now. Can he do it? Alright, so you know we got to go on board with Overshine here. He goes for the whole shot. He's out to the early lead. He's way ahead of Joe Meister. He's actually in a safe spot here. Joe Meister can't even hit him if he wants to. That's kind of where you want to be. Joe Meister overjumps that thing somehow. And just like that, after the first straightaway, Overshine's just out of reach of Joe Meister. So if he can stay right here, he will be good. But I have a feeling that's not the way it's going to go. Oh, Joe Meister teed him up, and somehow he ended up going down. And that could seal Overshine's fate as your 3-time and 3 in a row Carnage Clash main event winner. We'll have to see if he can keep it together through here. This is probably the hardest part of the track, these next few straightaways. If he can, then I think he's got it. We'll see. Joe Meister's putting in a really solid run here. He is absolutely nailing these sections. These guys have been riding this track for a while now, so you know they've got it pretty much dialed. Overshine with a slight case there out of the rhythm section, but really not enough to make a big difference. Let's see what kind of run they get through the whoops here. Joe Meister's just sending it, and he sends it right off the side of the whoops. So that is going to do it. Overshine, your 3-peat champion. Congratulations to